Hello everyone, I am Abhidi Sethi
And I'm Ritik.
and we are here to guide you through your INICET and NEET-PG preparation. So first question being, how will you decide what to prepare for, INICET or NEET-PG? So now this is a general consensus, and what I also strongly believe is that everybody, irrespective of what they're aiming for, should try to prepare for INICET. Now, what are the perks for preparing for INICET? First of all, you'll get into a central institute. A central institute has a lot of advantages. There's a good caseload. It is a bit more structured. You can predict your days because the schedule is given ahead to you. These are the final things which you might be looking for. Apart from that, preparation-wise, preparing for INICET gives you an edge. Why? Because you can somehow, if you do the PYQs well, if you do your content which is limited well, you can basically predict your exam, predict the questions which will be coming, and that way you can prepare better. So the preparation is definitely easier as compared to NEET, which is a little more wider based, and you need a little more time to prepare for NEET. So will you be taking up?
Yeah, so we'll be touching upon the following points in our PowerPoint presentation. So first of all, the timeline and sticking to a particular schedule, then the various sources which we followed and which we advise you to follow, the role of a study partner, or if you're a lone wolf, you want to study alone, then role of previous year topics and the various lists which are circulating on Telegram, role of first aid, role of integrating your sources and integrating your studies, then the role of discipline and consistency throughout your preparation. Then the importance of custom modules, how to use grant test as a learning tool, role of offline CBTs. Then the major query which we got was, how do we bookmark MCQs, or what is the importance of bookmarking MCQs? Then the various test and discussion courses which are available. Then do we need to attend bootcamp before the exam or not? Then some of the high impact subjects, and also about the mindset while preparing and while attempting your exam. So first of all, the date for INI is out. It's 18th May. So in all probability, NEET won't be held before May, as the counseling ends in the month of February. So the first rule which you need to follow is master your single source. Whichever source you're following, you have to master it from cover to cover. So the sources which we followed BTR 1.0 along with bonus, and we supplemented it with the test and discussions of the BTR app only, along with the compiled modules. Also, we followed Marrow for our PYQs. We solved all the PYQs from 2017 to 2023, and along with it, we also went through some of the old PYQs, especially for INI. So now I want to cover, like, every person will have a different week topic list. So you can have infinite number of lists which are available everywhere, all around Telegram or Instagram. You can download them, and on the basis of that list, you need to sort out the topics which are weaker for you. So out of that, say 200 topics, you should have at least 40 to 50 topics which you feel are your weaker section. So also we followed some of the revision notes that were from Marrow itself. We did not see the videos, but we followed the revision notes for some of the subjects. But it can be totally subjective and as per your weaknesses. But what we felt was important was Obs Gynae, Anatomy. We for Ashwini sir's one-shot video and test and discussion video. And for Opthal ENT, we followed Marrow revision notes. And along with that, Micro and Path, we followed Preeti ma'am for that.
So now coming on to, how do you study? Do you study better with somebody, or are you a lone wolf, or you like to study alone? So I'll be sharing the advantages and disadvantages of both. So first of all, since me and Ritik used to study together, we've been studying together from about first year itself. So how does it help? Some topics are weak for me, but they might be strong for him, and otherwise. So first of all, you can have a good check and balance. He will tell me, okay, this topic is weak for you, I'll teach you that. In that way, he's strengthening his topic, and I'm also getting a better understanding of that topic itself. Then apart from that, you can also supplement each other's, apart from supplementing each other's weaknesses, it gives you a check and balance for the time that you're trying to study. Like if I preferentially used to study in the morning, and I used to study for about 8 hours on a stretch, but Ritik didn't have that habit from the beginning itself. But since we used to study together, he slowly built up his stamina to study, and then we took it forward from there. These are just a few pointers which are advantages of studying in a study partner, with a study partner. The disadvantages would be, like, if I used to do chill, If I used to chill for a while, if I used to watch movies, then he used to also get distracted a bit. A good example would be like for the May INI which we were preparing, I was a little more determined to study for that exam, but he had his cricket tournament. So I couldn't study that well because we were in that momentum of studying together all the time. So that is a little tweak, a disadvantage that you can say, that everything goes hand in hand, but you should not be dependent. You should not make yourself dependent on the other person so much. You have to have a fine line between the two things, right? Then for people who used to study alone, and this is the app which I used while I was preparing for my May INI. It is called as Forest. And what does this app do? Like if you want it switches off everything on your mobile phone. Like if you switch on this timer of, you can set the timer to 30 minutes, maximum up to 2 hours or 3 hours. Now for that amount of time for which the timer is set, you will not be able to open any application on your phone except from the ones you have permitted it to. Like I had permitted Marrow, Cerebellum, Prep Ladder. These were the applications I had permitted, and apart from that my phone used to be logged. So I couldn't operate anything on my phone. I had to study for that amount of time. So this is one of the applications which proved to be very useful for me if you're studying alone, to build up accountability. Now it also tells you at the end of the day how many hours you have studied. So in that way you can keep an account of it. Like I used to say, if I studied 8 hours today, it has to be 8 hours plus 10 minutes tomorrow. It cannot be less than 8 hours. So that is about this app.
Also, I would like to add one more point. While we study with your study buddy, so what it adds is a sense of responsibility. So if I want to chill on some days, so I would be like, so we'll chill today. But it's not it's not that easy. You have the responsibility that if you would chill, then the other person would suffer. So that it gives you that 1 or 2 days when you don't want to study, but you have to study. So that will give you a push, basically.
Yeah.
So now talking about the previous year topics, so I would say that we followed, as we have mentioned, we did our previous year questions from Mara only. So you have basically, again, so once you prepare the list of all those topics, you have to master them in the sense that I'll give you an example basically. So it's like multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma gets asked in INI almost every alternate paper, I guess. So you have to be thorough with all the details, the newer drugs of multiple myeloma, the pathology, the medicine part. You have to be thorough with that. Similarly, you'll find a list when you do your questions. You get to know that there are approximately 100 to 120 topics which are very, very high yield for INI. So after doing the PYQs, make a list of those topics which you feel that you have to go in depth. Now you can go in depth either from the main notes or from your textbooks, whichever way you feel convenient. So that is the most underrated part of the preparation. So you need to have a list of those topics which is tailored to your needs and your weaknesses, and then move on with it.
Now coming on to one of the topics, that how to utilize first aid. So we get this question quite often because we are given step 1 and we were preparing for step 2. So I would say, like, if somebody is preparing using BTR as their source, so first aid I would say is kind of a continuation, or vice versa. BTR is kind of a continuation for first aid. So apart from doing BTR, what other things you can refer first aid for is, first of all, I would say biochemistry is given pretty well. If you just after doing your RR, or if you have a good first year base, you can directly go to first aid and you can see biochemistry cover to cover. It is given really well. You will not regret putting time into it. Another thing which I would say to read from first aid is public health sciences part, because in that it is explained really well, the cohort studies, the relative risk, the odds ratio. It is given pretty well in that. Then apart from that, if you have enough time, or for days which you are not feeling that motivated to study, if you just want some quick glances of things, so at the end of the first aid there's a section called as rapid review, and it is kind of like the buzzwords class which was once taken by Zainab ma'am. You can also refer to that rapid review section, in which it is given one line and the answer to it. So it's a very quick review to go through. It's just to brush up your topics from there.
Also, continuing on that compile module and the buzzword thing, basically the buzzword thing will let you revise things in those 2 pages. You can revise, I would say, approximately 15 to 20 topics. So that will be really, really beneficial for you. Also, some of the other topics which we referred were immunology and some parts of pharma. In the May INI, I guess we had 2 questions directly from the first aid book. The only 2 drugs were mentioned in that book, and those 2 questions came in the May INICET exam. So I would say that what you can do is have a PDF of that in your GoodNotes or say Notes app, whichever app you're using. search the keywords, like search for maybe any immunodeficiency syndrome and go through it. Search for any biochemistry topic and go through it. Instead of reading it from cover to cover, you have to search for the topics which are high yield and then go through it. It will not take more than 5 to 10 minutes for doing that topic. So I would say that is the best utilization of first aid. And as she said, it is a continuation of BTR. So along with BTR, if you supplement first aid, it will be a game changer, definitely.
So coming on to integration of sources and content. So this is kind of a second step in your preparation. This should not be taken as the first step. First step is doing any one resource which you're doing. Either it could be rapid revision videos, either it could be BTR, DVT, any of a concise source that you want to do. If that is forming your base, then after that, next step comes is integration. When you're revising that same content for the second time, what you want to add on to it is, first of all, reviewing that content and adding things from PYQ explanation from it. Now, what we did, that I could tell you, that after doing BTR, which we used as our primary source of preparation, we did PYQs from Marrow, because the explanation was given beautifully in Marrow. And we made it a point that if anything comes from that explanation, we should not get that wrong, right? So any new point which we used to find, which was high yield, and the points which I know I would forget, not the concepts. Concepts we used to understand it there and then, and the points we used to write them in our notes, so that there is one book which I have to refer to in the last 15 days of my preparation, and we'll be good to go. Apart from that, things like photographs, things like important flowcharts, which needed visual memory, we made a separate folder sorry, for it, for every subject. At the end of our preparation, we had 19 folders for 19 different subjects. We used to put high yield images related to it, high yield flowcharts we used to find anywhere from either from Marrow or from Cerebellum QBank or even from internet. We used to put them there, so that we just need to see it once before the exam, right? Now, if any of you would have seen Aditya Gupta's video, this is what he mentions. So before I go any further, I want to tell you that this video is a culmination of a lot of things that people have said, a lot of things our mentors have said on YouTube. We used to go through YouTube videos, what we have learned from each other, from our seniors. So telling you from that we have to prepare for the last 15 days of before our exam. So the people who do well in exam are the ones who have prepared well in the last 15 days. And why is that? Because that gives you confidence that, I have studied that much, I have studied till the end. So the race is obviously going to be good because you've done preparation for it that well. So an example of integration would be just that keep on adding PYQs, keep on adding things from GTs that you solve, that you think you're going to forget. So integrating the sources is one of the most important steps that you can do after forming your base.
Plus, it forms a one-stop solution at the end of your preparation. So last 15 days, you just go through the 19 PDFs. It will include all the volatile stuff, the facts, and all those things which you keep forgetting. So it will be obviously a great confidence booster for your preparation. You can take on this.
Okay. So talking about discipline and consistency, can't stress it enough. This word alone, consistency, is so heavy and the only thing that can take you through. So let's say till 18 May, approximately we have 6 months if we count from today. That is 24th of November. So if you start preparing today and you start studying for like 6 hours, 8 hours a day, but you exhaust yourself till you go till the end, then it doesn't have any use. You have to start slow, either plateau until and when you're at the end, you have to peak at that time. That is how your thing should be, your schedule should be. Like for people who are interns right now, I would suggest how do they build that consistency is, like, if you study for 2 hours today, even in your hectic study, even in your hectic postings, so that will push you more tomorrow to push this limit from 2 hours to 2 hours 10 minutes, 2 hours 15 minutes. So my suggestion for interns would be 2 things. First of all, you can do custom modules, which we'll discussing it later on. And the second important thing is you can watch, another high yield thing is you can watch Marrow recall videos, which are available on YouTube. For that, it is a very good passive information that you're getting, and that passive information is very high yielding also, right? So while moving, while collecting samples, while running the samples, while you're sitting there and you're not able to actively study, this is what you can do. Watch Marrow or watch any resource recall videos on YouTube. right? So talking about consistency, so it is that once you've decided for yourself that this is the schedule which I'm going to form, this is something that I'm going to follow and stick to it. So you find out your own ways to build that accountability with yourself, with other people around you, or with your mentors to keep you on track. And consistency will take you through. Like if somebody is studying for 8 to 10 hours a day, people say that hours of study is not important, but I feel that hours of study is proportionate to the amount of focus that you're giving, and it yields that much result. So if you're studying for the last 2 to 3 months or the last 1.5, 2 months, 8 hours at least every day, then nobody can stop you from cracking any exam that you want.
Plus, I would like to give my personal example. During my NEET preparation, in all, I believe that I was very well prepared for NEET as compared to my November INICET examination. But what I lost was what I faltered upon was that I was not able to put in that hard efforts in the last 1 month of preparation. So that basically reflected in my rank. I got a rank of about 4K in NEET, and I was well prepared as compared to the exam which I gave in November. But what changed during that November attempt was that I was a lot more consistent, a lot more disciplined, and I kept on increasing my number of hours. The basically how much I studied in those last 15 to 20 days. So that basically definitely helps you in the exam. So now talking about the custom modules, according to me, custom modules are the most important, one of the most underrated modes of preparation for your any PG preparation. Why? Because they are like you can slip in 10 questions at any time of the day. So by doing those 10 to 15 questions at regular intervals during the day, it will be a boost for you. At the end of the day, you will be able to solve easily about 60 to 70 questions every day. So that is basically a very good tool which can be utilized. We both used a Marrow custom modules, and we have made a post recently regarding the tags which we used, how to use custom modules. So you can refer that if you want. And we, as I said, we used Marrow as our platform, and because of the interface and ease of use, we use Marrow. And I would say that why to use custom modules is because you will be able to go through those topics which you have never seen before. They in custom models, it is very randomized. They will put in some questions will be old PYQs, some will be untagged MCQs. So it gives a sense of confidence. Like you have seen questions of unknown territory, and you'll get a confidence. Your confidence will be boosted after solving custom models. So that, according to me, is one of the most important steps of preparation.
Next, talking about grand tests and offline CBTs. Okay, so grand tests, I feel that in the beginning of your preparation, when these are the stepping stones of your preparation, how it should be, like in the initial 2 months, let's suppose you have 6 months, right? We're talking about this May INI. So in November and December, I think in this 2 months, you should give one GT every month, right? One GT for November. This should be your base GT if you have not given it before. So this should be a base GT, and one in December. Then after that, from 1st January itself till till March, you should give one every fortnightly, right? Then after that, either you can keep it one every fortnightly, or you can increase or decrease as per your level of preparation. Now, why am I telling you to give one GT per month in these 2 months and not more? Because initially our pace of studying is slow. And how we're going to increase that pace is by doing custom modules on a daily basis, right? You're doing questions on a daily basis. You get into that habit of solving 50 questions in 50 minutes, under 50 minutes, and also reviewing them in 50 minutes itself. Because reviewing a GT of 200 questions, it should not take you more than a day in the beginning, because ideally it should not take you more than 3 hours or 4 hours. It should not take you more than that, but in the beginning you can take one whole day for that. But when you're coming to that phase of your preparation, when you're giving GPs once every fortnightly, at that pace you should have give yourself 4 hours to review whole of the GP. Now, how to review it? Just review the wrong ones first, then go through the ones which you guessed right, and then just brush through the ones which you got right. Okay, so that is how I would tell you to take it. Now, the approach to the GT, how should the approach to the GT be? So in the beginning, first GT is your base GT, and then after that, the next 2-3 months, you can take your GT as your timing strategy. It tells you that are you able to complete 50 questions in 45 minutes or not. That is the most important thing that GT will do. It will put you under pressure. It will tell you to continuously apply your brain for 3 hours on a stretch without taking a break. Okay. Then while you're giving GT, one pro tip which I would like to give you is try to give it in uncomfortable settings. Like in INI this time, we both had a very bad center. The sitting was not proper, and the screen was buffering a lot, right? So here, while you're giving GT, while you're giving custom module, it is for that when you're preparing, try to complete 50 questions. If you're talking about INICT, try to complete 50 questions in under 40 minutes, right? Because you're not getting more time than that, because the screen buffers, or if something other happens, your screen stops. So you're prepared for everything like that. So initial months, your main target should be to time yourself. Are you able to complete the exam? Are you able to maintain your are you able to consistently focus on those questions from beginning to till the end? Then after the initial few months, you can take grand test as a testing tool, as a learning tool, right? Add on those points, add on those important topics in your notes. Try to read them from the main videos or your main notes. Only if you feel that these are the topics which are important and they're continuously asked in the INICT or in NEET examination, only then go to the main notes. Then in the last phase, in the last month of your preparation, then GT should be taken as a testing tool. Exactly. They will tell you that where do you stand, how much more effort do you need to put. Only in the last month it should be a testing tool. In the beginning it should be a timing tool, in the middle it should be a learning tool, and then at the last it should be a testing tool. That is
also, I would like to add here that I believe that giving a test offline in an offline center was more fruitful for me rather than giving an online test, like going at a center. So basically we gave about 3 to 4 offline tests, which basically helped us to have that exam like simulation basically. So we gave the offline CBTs connected by DAMS and also by DBMC. I guess we gave about 2 to 3 offline tests. So that also gives you a sense of confidence when you go at an offline center and give that CBT. That is slightly better than the online mode, which is totally a personal opinion regarding that. So now talking about bookmarking MCQs. So really, to be really frank, before my NEET preparation, I used to bookmark MCQs a lot. I had about more than 3,000, 4,000 MCQs bookmarked, which I would never go back again, which I could never revisit. So what I would say that while you bookmark your MCQs, they should only be high yield facts, and facts like which are previous year topics also. I'll give you an example. This time in November, a question came, how much percent of infertilities contributed to that? You remember that question? Yeah. So the answer to that was 15%. And that was one of my bookmark MCQs because it is a repeated question. I guess it is in the Marrow Q Bank, and it was a repeated question this way. So only bookmark those MCQs which are facts and high yield. That's it. Do not bookmark the conceptual questions. I had approximately 1,500 to 2,000 questions with only concepts. So take that extra 10 minutes and go through that concept there and then. You won't be able to revisit all those questions at the end of your preparation. So this is what I feel about bookmarking.
Next, talking about test and discussion course. I would like to say that you should watch the test and discussion courses specifically for topics which are weak for you. Like for us, it was Ophthal, ENT, the topics of third prof, like ESM
some
as
parts
well.
of ANAT also, I guess.
Yeah, some parts of ANAT and also maybe some parts of forensic as well. Right. So what do test and discussion courses do? They tell you that this is something that you don't know and how you had to approach it and what are the ancillary topics associated with it, right? So we attended test and discussion course of DAMS.
Right.
And if you don't want to take another platform and if you have Marrow, so in Marrow there's a separate section called as Delta videos. So you can directly refer to them. They're kind of like test and discussion only. And in that, what do you see? You have to answer a question and then there is an explanation related to it. It will tell you about why the answer to the question is this particular and what are the things you need to know about that topic. So in that particular 6 to 8 hours which you are investing into that, it will tell you about all the important topics related to it, all the topics which might have come in the exam, which have a propensity to come or which had come. So that way you can cover them easily.
Also, like one tip which I can give you is that basically she followed 5 to 6 subjects of dams, and I, in the last like 1.5 months of preparation, I upgraded to the mission plan, and I watched, I guess, 6 subjects like PSM, Pharma, Path, then I don't know, the ENT part. And so basically what we did, that the subjects which she did and the subjects which I did, we discussed those MCQs which we feel that might be important and we were not aware of that. So basically we combined both the TNDs and discussed that. So that basically helped both of us, I guess. So now talking about the high impact subjects, this is one of the slides which we got at the boot camp. And this basically, this is the time when we started to think that we can predict our paper, specifically for the INICT exam. So you can see that the first, second prof subjects at the rightmost, and you can see that subjects like micro, pathology, anat, biochemistry, pharma, they're too high yield. And same goes for this November's INICT. It was very high on, I guess, ENT, Opthal, ANAT, and all the first and second prof. Like 55 to 60% of questions are from the first and second prof, I guess. So these are the high impact subjects which you cannot miss during your preparation. So I would say that plan your preparation in a way that you complete the high yield subjects early in the earlier part of your preparation. Because what we tend to do is that we tend to go into details of all the minor things which we know that won't help us, but just to have that, like I'll go through this, I'll go through that, it does not help in the end. You have to be very clear that you have to go through these 10 to 12 subjects very thoroughly, and then you can basically expand your base knowledge. So that's my take on it.
Okay, now talking about something which I learned during boot camp, mindset while giving the exam. So right now, with BTR coming up, with a lot of people starting their preparation early in their MBBS years, so people have a good basic knowledge of what is going to be asked in the exam, right? So everybody almost has the same knowledge now. Now, what is the differentiating marker is how is somebody handling the stress of the examination, and how is somebody able to apply the knowledge that they have in the exam. Right, that is the only differentiator that we have right now, and also how somebody manages their time. So when you're doing exam, let me give an example. So this INI, this this November INI, the first block which I started, the 7 questions in the beginning I didn't know. Like first question didn't know. Okay, I moved on till 7 questions. I went and I didn't know any of them, and then I went to the 8th question, and then it struck me. So if you're somebody who's going to panic in the exam if you're not getting questions which are right, which you don't know, then the road is going to be very hilly and it's going to be very bumpy for you. So how do you prepare for something like that beforehand? Right, so that can only happen if you give a lot of CBTs, if you do a lot of custom module practice, if you see a lot of unknown questions in the form of custom modules beforehand. You have to prepare, you have to have the knowledge before entering the examination, but you also have to have the mindset before you enter the examination hall, right? So it is very easy to say that all you need to do is hold your calm, but how do you hold your calm? You have to practice that as well along with the MCQs, right? That will come if you give maximum examinations. Okay, so this is one thing that you have to you don't have to get emotionally involved with the exam. At the end of the day, it is just an exam, right? So this is what I learned there, how to bring your mind back to the exam, not getting lost while reading the question. Read the options first, read the last line first, that you all know. The thing is to hold your focus for that long a period. You have to keep coming back. If you're not able to solve that question within 30 seconds, let's say, move to the next question. Now, when I did that, I couldn't solve the 7 questions straight. I solved the rest of the block. And at the end of the block, I came back to them. Then tuck, everything stuck me. Okay, ye answer hai, iska ye answer hai. It wasn't that difficult. It's just a mind block that sometimes we get into. Right? So that is what I'm trying to say. That just take it as an exam. It is not going to define who you are. It is not an extension of you. It is just a part of your life. Right.
Also, I would like to add one more point on similar lines, that in my NEET attempt, basically my first and second block did not go well. I messed it up, and I really panicked in the third and fourth and fifth block. Third, fourth, and fifth block went good, but what I did in first and second block, that really basically struck me hard. Like what I'm doing, I have prepared so well. That thought of like I have to perform well, like I cannot perform bad in this exam because I had prepared well. So I was expecting that no, I will kill the exam, but it did not go that way. So basically between NEET and INI, that was one of the reasons why we made bootcamp videos as one of the first videos, because we felt that during those 3 months, at more than the content, what we learned there was that in situations like these, when you give those CBTs, you give those tests, you will realize that you have to handle that pressure. Same in my INICT, in the first block, I had to leave about eight questions I left in my first block. So leaving 8 questions, 8 questions are the questions which you can leave in the whole exam. So leaving 8 questions in those exams, I was like, what is happening? I cannot mess it up again. So again, that the experience, like in the boot camp, in the TNDs which were conducted, in the second GT or the third GT, I faced a similar mind block that I was not able to solve. I had time concerns. I was facing problem. But what over the past 10 to 12 tests which I gave there, the confidence I developed, ki I will come back, I can do, I have, because you have to take the paper as 4 different blocks, 4 different exams rather than a whole one exam. So that dividing the paper into 4 blocks and treating them as different papers will really help you. Take 30 seconds, take a deep breath, and move on. The paper is not over after the first block or the second block. You have 4 different exams. You have 4 into 50 questions to solve that exam. So that will really help you. So keep practicing, and that will definitely give you a boost.
So lastly, I would like to say, this is one of the lines from Atomic Habits. It says that you should be far more concerned for your current trajectory than your current results while you're judging yourself. So if you say that today when I gave my base GT, I got 120 correct, I got 100 or 110 correct, but you should not judge yourself by that, because that is something that is right now. It is not your end result. When you reach from where you're right now to where you're going to be at the end of 6 months, it is your trajectory which decides that, right? If you have everything sorted out for yourself, you know that this is the schedule I'm going to follow, this is the stuff that I'm going to read, I'm going to read BTR, I'm going to do MCQs, I'm going to do consistently, I'm going to do consistently practice MCQs. If you know what you want to do, then, and if you are increasing your study or increasing your effectiveness on a daily basis, if you say become better 1% every day, if you studied for 8 hours yesterday and you study for 8 hours 10 minutes today, you're becoming better only by 10 minutes. It might not even matter to you right now, but over time this keeps on compounding. That compound effect will come and it will push you ahead. Like for an example, let me give an example of a bamboo tree, right? So a bamboo tree, when it is in the initial phases of its growth, it just is very few centimeters above the ground, right? And it stays like that for about 6 years or so. And then suddenly, after it has, in that period, what is it doing? It is spreading its root deep underneath the soil, building its roots for its nutrition and everything. So, and in that last seventh year, what happens is that since it has built such good roots, it sprouts up to 90 feet within those 6 months. So that is what you have to do. You have to build up your roots, you have to build up your bases so strong, and not judge yourself along the way. Just see that you're rising and rising 10 minutes more every day, just 10 minutes more, 5 questions more, 5 minutes of reading your choti copy, 5 minutes of reading BTR more or DVT more. That is going to make a real difference, right? So that is all I had to say.
Just be consistent and you will ace the exam.
Yeah.
Best wishes from our side. Thank you.
All the best.